Oh, the Democrats. The Democrats have made a big brain decision. The learning lesson that the Democrats have got to take away from their failures in 2024 is go on more media spaces like Joe Rogan to get the message out. Not policy. Just go on Joe Rogan's show and hope everything turns out properly. Look, I know we covered segments about this of Rogan reaching out to Kamala's campaign and what happened in return. Oh, that's right. I remember. The Kamala campaign was dictating terms in which how the interview would be conducted. It wouldn't be 3 hours, it'd be 1 hour. Joe Rogan had to fly out there and they asked if Joe Rogan could also edit the interview. And the reason why I'm leaving the edit part for last is because it's been now shown that in other previous interviews that Kamala did on other podcasts, those podcasts and interviews were edited, including on major media news outlets. Oh, that's right, because that happened. But nope, Democrats, go on Joe Rogan's show. Go on Joe Rogan's show. First of all, shout out to Case Study QB. That's the lesson to learn here. That's what we could take away. AOC, Biden, and everyone else in the vote blue, no matter whose sphere. Your brand is a joke.
But I also do think one of the things that he did that was really smart was that he went to these websites, he went to these podcasts, he met people where they were. So, for example, we often talk about this idea of the liberal Joe Rogan, right?
A liberal Joe Rogan. You did. It was Joe Rogan. You know what's really stupid here? Is that in 2020, when Bernie Sanders went on Joe Rogan's show, he got so much shite from BSDNC, CNN, hell, even AOC and other Democrats were jumping down his throat because he went on Joe Rogan's podcast. I saw that interview. We talked about it on Hardlands Media. It was a very successful interview. Nothing was done, but it triggered a lot of people. And now here, you got these same big brain geniuses at BSDNC that are hemorrhaging viewers that Comcast wants to let go because, let's face it, MSNBC is a pointless, dead brand, as it should be, like the Democrats. Can't seem to realize that nobody respects them anymore. But hold on. More big brain decisions.
He met people where they were. So, for example, we often talk about this idea of the liberal Joe Rogan, right? Joe Rogan was liberal, right? He endorsed Bernie Sanders, right? Nobody went to Joe Rogan. So you didn't get Joe Rogan's audience. Like, Joe Rogan is the gatekeeper of his audience. So if Democrats want to win those voters, they must go to those spaces. And that's it, right?
It's a very important part of it. I think a tactical one, but an important one.
Yeah. Or, hey, don't forget to tell them to show up on MSNBC, right? Because people respect us too. No, they don't. But when Bernie did it, it was like the kiss of death. I remember so many people were saying, oh, how could Bernie Sanders speak to Joe Rogan? Joe Rogan is this and Joe Rogan is that. And then they're saying, oh, we need to make a liberal Joe Rogan. Hell, you have even that big brain genius, Kyle Kalinske, even saying, oh, I could be the next one. No, you're not. It's not my fault that Kamala couldn't hold a 3-hour conversation. Hell, it's nobody's fault, really. I mean, she's got nothing to say. But Trump and J.D. Vance showed up in 2020. Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, and Andrew Yang showed up, and it boosted up their numbers. I mean, that's just how it is. But now the decision is, oh, you got to show up on these media spaces. So great, Democrats. So does that mean people like AOC and other squad members are going to maybe decide to show up on Hard Lens Media or Do Dissidents or INN or RBN or the Jimmy Dore Show? Because, I mean, there's just more than just one other area, too. I mean, are you going to show up on other podcasts? Are you going to cross that Rubicon and go on other shows that will challenge you politically? No, probably not. But they got another big brain plan. Coordinate with their super PACs.
Let me ask you about something that David Plouffe said on Pod Save America, someone you and I both know. He said, quote, we have to stop playing a different game as it relates to super PACs than Republicans. They coordinate more than weight.
Patrick D. Get up and go see the White House counselor. Hey, Kit, don't you realize Hassan Piker, Jenk's nephew, is the Joe Rogan of the left? That man was wrong about the entire 24 election. I know you're being funny, but that hurt my brain and my soul. And now I'm traumatized for the entire day. My soul needs a milkshake.
We do. I'm just sick and tired of it. And he was talking about kind of legal advisors saying to the DNC,
Teddy G, no way I am ever going inside Jen Psaki. Get up, go see the White House counselor. Where did my audience learn to be this mean? And if you say you learned it from Hard Lens Media, shame on you. Shame on all of you.
and others, you can't coordinate at all with super PACs while Republicans are doing that. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of merit to that observation, and that's what I've heard as well, talking to people, both lawyers and also people within the DNC. We need to make greater use of the flexibilities, not to do things illegally, but we need to be making greater use of the flexibilities in the law, especially for moving money around, spending dollars appropriately on things so that, say, Hakeem Jeffries and his congressional candidates don't have to spend that money on if we can do it as a party. So we need to make better use of all of the flexibilities that are in the law, because Lord knows we're getting pounded because of some of them. We need to make sure that we are playing by this new and ever developing set of rules. But
No. Again, Mara Malley agrees with Dave Paul that the Democrats need to coordinate with their super PACs, more like the GOP. Oh, you guys were coordinating with your super PACs. You guys were. And you want to know what happened, Democrats? You lost $2.5 billion. Your donors want to know what happened to money. Okay, now maybe this is my inner South Sider. Maybe the spirit of Alphonse Capone is influencing the words that I'm going to say. But where's the money? I'm here. I'm looking for it. What are you doing with that money? I'm looking up. I'm looking down. Now I'm looking at your pockets. Where's the money? You guys couldn't listen, Democrats. You couldn't coordinate yourselves out of a wet paper bag, even with a flashlight and a map. You couldn't do it. This is how incompetent the Democrats are as an organization, but they are a dead and dying brand. Everybody sees it. Everybody knows about it. And yet, the Democrats push away any chance they got. And the thing is, it is a case study. It's a case study of their own ongoing failures.
Why does that matter? Well, I mean, this is one of the few committees in Congress that actually generates national attention or media coverage. Under Jamie Raskin, it became a critical platform for countering Republican misinformation. And while I have deep, deep respect for Speaker Pelosi and nothing against Congressman Connolly at all, this felt like an obvious chance to apply some.
Don't you like how Jen Psaki is saying, like, I'm not trying to offend you, Mama Bear. Please don't beat me with an inch of my life. No hammers thrown my way. Really? You're following orders because the same people who donate to Democrats donate to the corporate media.
Some of the lessons we should have learned from the November election, right? Instead, Democrats passed over one of the youngest, most media-savvy members of Congress for a key leadership public role.
Not sure I understand the logic in this. Let's bring in GOP pollster Mitchell Brown. Mitchell, look, the argument there is that AOC's snub is a sign that Democrats didn't learn anything from the election. But was it not AOC and her cohorts responsible in part, at the very least, for the party's downfall?
You know, I actually tend to agree with Jen a little bit here. I mean, there was a referendum about the old Democratic system. And this is what the Democrats didn't do from 2016 moving forward that Republicans did do. When there was the populist wave, when Trump came into power.
Oh, yes, the populist wave. The populist wave that the Democrats did have. And they did. I mean, but it wasn't because people were excited to vote Democrats, because they wanted to vote for Bernie Sanders. And throughout the entire 2016 primary, the evidence was out there in the open as the DNC and Clinton campaign were working together to deny Bernie Sanders a nomination. Now, we all now know better about how much of a joke Bernie Sanders' campaign truly was and how he dismissed any real attempt for people to call him out and say, hey, Bernie, you were cheated. I remember the People Summit in 2017. I remember even covering that big event where Bernie Sanders was speaking to people at the McCormick Place here in Chicago. And what did Bernie Sanders do and say as soon as people were screaming and saying, hey, you were cheated? He told them no. He was quieting down the audience. He didn't want to hear it. He didn't want to push for it because Bernie Sanders created something that he didn't even believe in.
they began to embrace it, unlike the Democrats who pushed away Bernie Sanders, that entire wing of their party. So I think they do need something new. They need a new, fresh face, because what they have been doing hasn't been resonating with voters. So maybe switching to a young person who, yes, might have some radical ideas that people don't agree with, they still have that little bit of new youth movement when the country needs that. When you see Republicans actually gaining with that younger voting group, Democrats are pushing further and further away. So what I think they do actually need is someone who can be a face for the next generation in that young populist movement.
Yeah, but her policies have turned people cold as well, Mitchell. But let's move on.
No, AOC has no policy, and the thing is, they have no backbone or spine. Again, huge shout out to Case Study QB. I don't know how you sit through it, but everybody talks about, oh, the squad will do this and the squad will do that. The squad has power. The squad has influence. They don't. They don't have the soul or the power to fight, because the squad is only a squad in name only. They don't have each other's backs. They only have their own agendas, and everybody sees it. Case in point was Case Study QB right here.
What do you see as the future of the Democratic Party? One right now that is walking away from Kamala Harris, walking away from Joe Biden, in some ways walking toward even Donald Trump.
I mean, honestly, I think right now it's not exactly clear what the future of the Democratic Party is going to be. I think they have three different paths, though, and they can either follow the path that they've been going down, which is, you know, the Obama and the Clinton operatives leading the party, or they can go with the squad progressive brand of the party that has pushed many sane Democrats like myself out. Or they can chart a brand new path, which might look a little bit more like populism, like what we're seeing a Donald Trump campaign look like. So I think at this point, it's kind of unclear, but I think those are the three different paths that lay ahead for them.
That's fascinating. Let's do this together. Let's walk through those three paths really quickly. So first of all, the old coalition, the Obama, Pelosi, power broker coalition of the Democratic Party. I don't think any of us have the foresight or ability to say the name.
Yes, the Obama-Nancy coalition. Only Nancy and Obama can screw up the fact that they had a supermajority in the Senate and House and could have, in theory, implemented many great things. Now, these two people don't have what it takes because they lack, you know, an important element that is compassion, understanding, and seeing the bigger picture. Because, hey, why do, you know, why protect a woman's right to choose? Why do Medicare for all? Why do progressive things when you could still fundraise off the hope and desperation of your voters? I mean, suckers. I mean, your voters. Because since 2008, we all got the same email. Oh, hey, we need $12 so we can do this. We need $15 so we can do this. We need $20 from you so we can finally do this. And infinitum. They keep doing it over and over and over again, Democrats. And that was their plan. It was all to drain money from hardworking people's accounts.
Nail has been driven into the coffin for those power brokers. Perhaps more so for Obama. Pelosi's in her 80s, but still powerful. Do you think that direction of the Democratic Party won't have a stranglehold on the future?
I think it's going to be difficult to get them out unless we lose again in 2028. I think if we lose again in 2028, they'll have no choice but to be ejected from the party. But otherwise, I think over the next 4 years, they're probably going to continue to have their stranglehold.
Okay, then the second group, the squad. We've seen members of the squad already losing their seats. Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman.
Those two lost their seats, not because of policy, but because they abandoned their teams, their people, their voters. You know, I remember way earlier this year, I think it was actually more in 2023, when good friend of the show, Roger Meadows, actually had a sit down face-to-face with Jamal Bowman. And Jamal Bowman, looking Roger Meadows in the eye, was saying, hey, you shouldn't approach me like this. You should be talking to me like this in this manner. All the while, you know, we're just really asking our politicians to do their job. The same, again, Cory Bush, you know, forgetting or running with AOC, holding the fake little protests on the Capitol steps as Americans potentially could have lost their homes, some of whom did. But once it was all done, they had plenty of time to dance. Where were all these squad members when people were asking them, hey, speak out against genocide, speak out against corruption, call out Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? Nowhere, which is why Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush lost. They didn't have their coalition. Their voters, their main base, gave up on them.
We've seen the squad reduce in its size. Now, there was still going to be a story to tell about AOC, but it doesn't seem to me like the squad is on the path to defining the future for Democrats.
I think the problem with the squad is that they had no spine. They could have forced the vote. Instead, they went in this.
Hold on. I heard force the vote. They have no spine. You know what I got to say about that? Time to bring out this Coca-Cola Classic. It's a Coca-Cola Classic. Oof. 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 I'm having too much fun. Say that again.
The squad is on the path to defining the future for Democrats.
I think the problem with the squad is that they had no spine. They could have forced the vote. Instead, they went in this hyper woke direction. They lost all of the populist values and messaging that Bernie Sanders had in 2016. And, you know, now they've become a huge liability for the Democratic brand.
Right.
So I also don't see them as the future either.
All right. Then lastly, I can hear you rooting for this third category, this populist. In the vein of Donald Trump, perhaps, there's only one name that's ever really represented the left on that populist side, but he's very old as well, and that's Bernie Sanders. So I don't know who will emerge that could inspire someone like you, Evan.
Listen, folks, when you hear the name drop, try not to punch your screen or rage out. Okay? Everybody, breathe in, breathe out. Hard Lens Media warned you, okay? Just remember, I gave you a heads up. Heads up.
Perhaps maybe Dan Osborne. I don't know if you followed his race in Nebraska, although he's not an elected official. We need a lot more people like him. Or somebody like John Fetterman even could.
John Fetterman. Lady, your choices offend me, and here's what I think about it.
And here's what I think about it.
There you go. That's what I think about. That's exactly it. That's how I think about it.
Elected official. We need a lot more people like him. Or somebody like John Fetterman even could emerge as the future face of the populist movement on the left.
All right. The president in a hoodie. We already have the senator in the hoodie, maybe your presidential candidate in the hoodie. He is certainly a man who will surprise. Great conversation. Thank you.
Yes, if you could put together a sentence, you know. I'll never forget when Joe Biden and Fetterman were together in the same room. My goodness. If anyone can articulate what those two were talking about, please, John
And here's
Fetterman.
what I think about it.
Exactly. That's what I think about it. And these are the experts. God, I hate corporate media. Oh my God, I hate it with a passion. And yet these people, these politicians, these quote unquote media outlets think that, oh, another big name is what could draw people in. You know, what were progressive voters and independent voters asking the Democrats throughout this entire election year as the crisis in Gaza was going on? Hey, ceasefire, end the genocide, end the crisis. Can we do this? Can we do something for Medicare for all? Can we do something about student debt forgiveness? And yet it was falling on deaf ears. Hard Lens Media was there at the DNC convention. And did the DNC convention or any of the delegates or people running that crap show give a damn about all the protesters and people speaking out at the United Center? No, they didn't. They didn't. They expected everyone to shut up and fall in line. And if this is all what the Democrats can offer, the squad, people viewed the squad as spineless already. Whatever goodwill the squad had has evaporated. It is non-existent. November 5th, if the Democrats are serious, if they ever were serious, is their only last wake-up call. Now, all of you in my live stream audience have proven correctly that the Democrats aren't going to learn their lesson. What they're going to be running on is Trump derangement syndrome and the fear of Trump, hoping onto hope that they could bring some new changes in. But it's quite clear with AOC's disastrous and embarrassing defeat, the DNC does not want to embrace new change. The DNC and all their quote-unquote people running it don't give a damn about how their brand is recognized because they don't respect themselves, just like they don't respect the American voter. This is the ending of a political party. That won't happen overnight, but it's to be continuous and gradual to where the Democrats could become a footnote. And yes, Nazem, is she on drugs? The Fetterman? The Fetterman, Uncle Fester himself? Absolutely, Nazem. You're not wrong in your assessment. Absolutely, you're not wrong. But this is how desperate the Democrats are. They're looking for the next name brand. Little will they ever realize that 2016 was their only opportunity really to ride the wave of populists. It could be argued that even 2020 was the case, but Bernie Sanders' heart and fight was not showing at all throughout the entire primary, and he gave up quickly. The Democrats for the past 8 years wasted everybody's time.